What's up, my golfers? It's Jeff from Golfers Unite, and it's time to go low right here on AM 820, the Big Eight. And we are excited for another episode of this show. Saturday mornings, every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. And our special guest with us today on the Caddie's Corner, as always, is our friend Mike Hicks, Payne Stewart's caddy. How are you doing today, Mike?
Doing great, Jeff. How about you, buddy?
Good, good. So yesterday was the longest day in golf, as they call it, the U.S. Open qualifier. And I wanted to talk about that. Maybe our listeners don't know much about qualifying for the U.S. Open, which is coming up at Shinnecock next week, as a matter of fact. And so you being in the golf industry for 40 years plus, has seen a lot of these qualifiers. So tell us a little bit about what's going on this day.
Well, it's a marathon, and the worst thing that can happen is to shoot a mediocre score, meaning around par the first round. And usually at those things, depending on where you are, it's 7 or 8 under is gonna probably get you a spot. So, if you shoot over par, then you can just bag it and leave after 18 holes. But if you shoot up under, under one under even or something, you're going the other 18. So you're hoping for something real low that first 18 or something real high as a caddy. nothing,
Right.
nothing in between. But it's a long day. It's a grind, man. It's and really depending on where you're at, what part of the country. I mean, if you're in the Northeast or up, they used to do one in Columbus, Ohio. I worked that one several times. And you could catch a decent day where it was, high 70s, not much humidity and very tolerable. But if you're doing Dallas or somewhere down in Atlanta or somewhere like that where the humidity is really high and it's close to 90, I mean, it's a hard day.
Now, are they just playing 18 holes, or are they playing,
No, it's
30?
36.
So they're
in one,
playing 36 holes in
yeah,
one day.
yeah, 36 holes.
Fantastic. We're talking with Mike Hicks. He is our special guest Saturday mornings right here on AM 820 on Golfers Unite, Let's Go Low radio show. You guys get a chance to check out golfersunite.com. Free memberships are available. You can get access to 4 of our curated deals. Premium memberships are just $30 for the year, and you get 14 additional brand deals, from brands like Pinned Golf, Performance Golf, Branded Bills, Seed Golf Balls, FoundGolfBalls.com, and many more. So, Mike, this year they said that there's 43 spots up, and they had 713 professionals and amateurs compete on this longest day where they had 36 holes. Have you ever done the qualifier when you were on Payne's bag, or, tell us a little bit about maybe your experience at the U.S. Open
Well,
qualifiers.
not really with Payne. Prior to Payne, yes, but Payne was exempt from whether it be money. Then he, from money list or whatever. But then he wins in '91, so that gave us that back then. That was a 10-year exemption, or maybe 5-year exemption. Maybe it had gone to 5 years by then. But anyway, we won it in '91, so that gave him 5 years. Then he won again in '99, but obviously he died, a few months later. But so I didn't work many qualifiers after I started caddying for Payne. It was more so prior to him, and then after he passed. And I'd have to say I worked more qualifiers after he passed away than prior to.
Any notables on the bag that maybe made it in?
Oh, let's see. Qualified with Stricker. Qualified with Jonathan Bird. Qualified with Spencer Levine. I made it through 3 or 4 times with different guys. But it's a shot in the dark. I mean, you got to have it that day, and you got to have it for for 36 holes. That's why you see so many, notable guys that are, guys that have tour cards that don't get through. And you see amateurs that, have a great day and get through. So, it's a shot in the dark. You just got to have your game that day and, make putts and to get a spot.
Yeah, it's quite a grind. What was it like? We're talking with Mike Hicks, Payne Stewart's caddy, talking about qualifying for the U.S. Open. And we just recently had the longest day of golf, which is 36 holes, quite the grind to try to make, get 10 spots out of 43 spots at 10 different locations with 700 people vying to get in. What was it like caddying for Steve Stricker?
Oh, it was great. Great guy. Very accountable for his golf, and what a competitor. When I had him, he struggled with his driver. He almost had the yips with his driver when I caddied for him, and he almost gave the game up. A lot of people don't know that, but he had to make a decision in an off season. We finished the 2003, I think, was the last year I caddied for him. And he said, you might want to find a job next year. I'm not sure I'm going to come back out and play. I'm either going to figure out my golf swing or I'm not going to play anymore. And he obviously figured his golf swing out and, had a great, rest of his career. But back when I had him, he was really struggling driving the ball. Could still putt it. One of the greatest putters ever. And chip it, but he could not drive it in the ocean. So it was a struggle with Steve. The year and a half, 2 years I had him.
You're listening to Mike Hicks, Payne Stewart's caddy, right here on AM 820 for the Let's Go Low radio show, hosted by Jeff Stanislow from Golfers Unite, golfersunite.com. We put all the episodes up there. You can check it out. We also link it to our YouTube channel. Go to golfersunite.com and check it out. Mike, you have an interesting notable on a caddy from this year's longest day. And it was Tiger Woods' kid on the bag for another young man who is an amateur, Miles Russell, who's 17 years old. So what do you think about Charlie being on the bag?
Well, I mean, I guess they're real good buddies, and they live near each other. So, it's always nice to have a friend on the bag. And they're 17 years old. I mean, they're kids. So, this Miles Russell kid, supposedly very special. Obviously, he is to qualify for the U.S. Open. So, and I think he's going to Florida State next year. He's already committed to Florida State. So looking forward to watching his college career and, in his pro career. But it'll be exciting to see how he plays Shinnecock. Probably one of the tougher U.S. Opens venues that you'll see. So it'll be a great, barometer for him to see where his game stands up against the world's greatest,
Yeah. So what do you think, Mike, that Charlie might have gained from the experience of being on the bag with Miles during that day?
Well, he probably got to see just how far away from that level of golf his game is. It's probably what he took from it. He probably left there going, I'm nowhere near as good as this kid. So, and I'm sure he knew that going in, obviously. I mean, they play in a lot of junior tournaments together, and they've competed against each other a lot. So that's nothing that Charlie didn't already know. But, once, that's a higher level of competition than what either one of them have really played in, I would think. So, kudos to Miles for qualifying. And like I said, it'll be fun to watch and see what kind of scores he shoots up at Shinnecock.
Yeah. So you mentioned, Mike, that Shinnecock's one of the tougher ones. I had the privilege of playing Oakland Hills last week, where Ben Hogan won it in 51. I had a famous quote talking about taming the monster, as it seemed. What are your thoughts between maybe like an Oakland Hills and Shinnecock, comparison?
Oakland Hills is very difficult also. Now, I haven't been there in, I think the last time I was there, I caddied for my son at the U.S. Amateur up there. And it was a beast then, but this was back, geez, this was 10 years ago. I don't know. The last time the U.S. Amateur was at Oakland Hills, that was the last time I was there. Now, have they put length on it or have done anything to it? I don't know. But it was always a test. I mean, a good test. They always had high rough. The greens are very slopey and fast. The thing about it up there is usually you would have some weather up there, which would soften the golf course. So the greens never really, the times I were there, were never really that firm. Whereas you get to Shinnecock, unless they get rain and soften that thing up, those greens get so hard. I mean, it's hard to keep a ball on them. It's back, now we have a new regime, running the USGA now. So, and they seem to be, they don't take it across the line anymore as far as firmness goes. They try and stay on the softer side of things, it seems like now. But at least they're going back to venues that are you're not gonna shoot any 62s around Shinnecock Hills. There'll be no low 60s. Maybe the first round, if it happens at all, but you won't see it. You won't see 2 or 3 or 4 of them like you did out at LA North a couple years ago.
Yeah, this is Mike Hicks. Mike Hicks is a special guest host here at Golfers Unite's Let's Go Low right here on AM 820 every Saturday morning at 8. We're talking about the U.S. Open, which is coming up next weekend. Everybody's really excited about it. We're talking about the longest day of golf, all the qualifiers. And like maybe the difference between like what Shinnecock's going to bring to them. So, you always mention, you keep on coming back to, the firmness and the weather. If they're soft, they can score, but if not, it's going to be a long day out there for them. I'm not sure what the weather forecast has for Shinnecock this year, but when you were out on Shinnecock, what are a couple of the memorable things that you experienced on that golf course?
Well, we were paired with Spencer Levine when he was an amateur. I was caddying for Lee Jansen. This would have been 05. No, this would have been 07 maybe, or 06, 04. 04.
Yeah, Retief Goosen won it.
04. And I just remember Spence played great. I think he finished top 15, which got him back in next year's U.S. Open. He made a hole-in-one that year. And as it happened, a few years later, I went to work for him and caddied for him for about 4 years. I had also caddied for Spencer's dad, Don Levine, back when I first started caddying back in 1980. So I knew the Levines well, and so I just remember playing with Spence on Saturday, and it was a lot of fun. The place was just out of control that week, as far as, especially on the weekend, as far as the firmness and how fast the greens were and how far the ball was rolling. I mean, I just remember how tough it played. I can't even remember what Retief ended up shooting, but I know it had to have been right around par. But and I hope it's that way this year. I hope it's not soft. I hope it's firm, fast. Then the one that has the most patience and plays the most intelligent golf, which means taking your medicine and not trying to be a hero, and just putting the ball in play, is going to win the tournament. So I hope it plays that way. It'll be so much fun to watch.
Yeah, fantastic. Some Tampa notables that qualified at Innisbrook is Bo Titsworth from Tampa, shot 68, and Logan Blondell from Lakeland with a 69. Parker Bell, another amateur from Tallahassee with a 69. And then a young man who's an amateur, Parker Stevens, got in as an alternate. If you're and Andrew Cozen from Jupiter, if you're an alternate, what are the odds that you're getting in quick? Like,
Well, they'll take the first alternate from whatever site the person withdraws from.
right?
That's usually how they do it. So,
Fantastic.
yeah, that's how they do it.
All right, Mike Hicks, our special guest for the Caddie's Corner right here on AM 820, the Let's Go Low Show, brought to you by Golfers Unite. This is your host, Jeff Stanislow. Keep on tuning in for more, Tampa. We appreciate your support. Again, check out golfersunite.com.